So I just finished reading Toni at Random by Dana Williams, and this is a nonfiction book that talks about Toni Morrison's time as an editor at Random House in the 70s. And throughout the book, Williams discusses a number of projects that Morrison worked on, including Women Race Class by Angela Davis, Gorilla My Love by Toni Cade Bambara, and The Greatest, which was Muhammad Ali's biography. I've been talking about this book for weeks as I've been reading it and as I've been talking to my friends about it because I work as an editor myself. I don't work in publishing or in like book publishing, but I do work in digital publishing for a digital fashion publication. So my work is a lot different, but I was initially drawn to it because I'm an editor myself, and I have an interest in book editing, so I kind of want to get more insight into that. An aspect of the book that I really enjoyed is that Williams walks us through a lot of the correspondence that Morrison was having with the writer she was working with, that talks through, a lot of things that come up as an editor, like questions about formatting, where to put things. Maybe you have a paragraph here or a whole chapter here that needs to be deleted or needs to be moved. So that whole aspect, I found it very interesting, like professionally. But then I also enjoyed getting more insight into what Morrison found valuable as a reader, as an author herself, and ultimately as an editor. And I found one kind of consistent theme through all the things she worked on. And she worked on a number of things, from fiction to short stories to nonfiction, to these kind of there's a whole section on like scrapbooks, like historical scrapbooks. So she worked on a number of projects, but one kind of consistent thing that you did see throughout how she made decisions and how she kind of went into these projects was that she was really invested in championing these real and authentic stories, even if they were things that were not necessarily going to be very like easily palatable to a commercial audience or like easily marketable to a specific audience. Ultimately, it came down to like, is this a real, authentic, and important story? And that kind of was like, that seemed to be guiding a lot of the decisions she made as an editor. Williams also does a great job of giving some insight into the kind of logistics and politics behind publishing. And of course, like this is like decades ago, so I'm sure some things have changed, but I'm sure some things have not. And just how very fraught I don't know if that's the right word, but like fraught the relationship between an editor and a writer could be, and how like this working relationship, it may affect personal relationships. Looking at the business side of it, maybe an author is newer or they don't have as much work out there, or maybe their work is considered more controversial and less palatable, and how that will affect kind of the business decisions. So it's interesting to get some insight into how those decisions were made as well. Unfortunately, you do learn that like it's not enough to just write a good book, to tell an authentic story, to tell an important story, because there were some books that like Morrison and the authors, like they work really hard on, and it, for one reason or another, it just does not perform commercially as kind of well as you may, I think everyone who creates anything, you want it to be successful. And there's often going to be like so many factors that are out of your control. And I mean, ultimately, the best thing you can do is just tell the story that you feel called to tell. That's kind of like, I guess if you could take any lesson from the book, that's kind of one thing that I took from it, is that like, even if it's not going to be like the most commercially viable, even if you can't easily market it to Black readers or to feminist readers or to any specific group, and you can't kind of guarantee like this return on investment, it's still it's apparent to me that Morrison still believed in championing these stories, championing these important stories. For me, like I learned about so many people I haven't read their work yet, because Morrison edited it, and because she championed their stories, and she got the work out of someone's their dusty notebooks that they're just writing away. She got it out of there, and she got it into our hands. And so I mean, I guess that's what it comes back to, is that like, just write the thing, post the video, do the thing, because you never know who's watching, you never know who's reading, and you never know where it could take you, because it end up here in in someone's hand while they talk about how, you know, how cool it is, how great it is. So yeah, that Toni at Random. Go read it. Go read it.